All right, guys, I am back. Yes, I have been on vacation. Yes, there was no count the bucket last night because Michael had to work late, and then the men's Final Four game was last night between Gonzaga and UCLA. And man, what a nightcap! After Baylor blew the brakes off of Houston, we got a great game between Gonzaga and UCLA. The women's games were great as well, but we're here to talk about the women today. We're here to talk about the ladies. I got Nick with me. I'm going to let him introduce himself. We're going to pay some bills, and we're going to get straight into it.
What's going on, y'all? As you all know, my name is Nick Andre. I'm a basketball writer, analyst of all aspects from high school to the NBA. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Nick Andre ATR, and I'm really excited for tonight's matchup. Honestly, man, I want to say it just because I don't think anyone has said it yet, but I might say the women's tournament has been just slightly better than the men's.
Oh yeah.
No disrespect to the men's either, but
yeah, you know what, Nick? I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly because in the women's game, the upsets take a little longer to kind of happen.
Yeah.
In the men's game, it's unpredictable. But the women's game was so much excitement. There weren't any blowouts, really.
Yeah, that's true.
When you got to the Elite Eight, you kind of didn't know. You got Baylor and UConn in an Elite Eight matchup. Like, how the heck does that happen? How does Baylor get put in the same bracket as UConn? Hey, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about these brackets and how it happened, how some of these women's teams busted some brackets. We had double-digit upsets early in the women's game, which usually does not happen, but it happened. But the games have been fun. And, Nick, I will agree with you. The women's games have been more interesting than the men's games. But I think the finals for both the men's and women's will be very, very
yeah, it's going to be really good.
It's going to be
really good.
So good. And for all of you people that did not, I don't know who did the Final Four presentation for the women for the, the clips they put in to do the whole thing. They didn't put Arizona in it. How do you not put Arizona in there?
I have no idea. I didn't even watch the clip, but I did hear Ari McDonald and Audio Barnes talking about it after the game, and I was like, wow, that's pretty much disrespectful.
Yeah, the disrespect has been not taken lightly. UConn, I'm sorry, but you felt the wrath of how Arizona felt about that, and that's what you got. But today's show is going to be great. I came off vacation to talk this with Nick. Nick texted me. He said, you know what? I want to talk. We got to do it. We got to talk about it. I want to talk about this. And I said, you know what, Nick? You got it. You got it. So we're going to pay some bills, and we're going to look at this bracket and see how both teams got here. First up, Amber, don't forget to share your screen. Amber, do not forget to share your screen. A lot of betting going on. A whole bunch of betting going on. Check out mybookie.ag. Use the code USN100 to double your first deposit. Baseball is happening. Basketball, of course, we know the NBA is happening. Both for the championship games. We got one tomorrow, and we got one today. Of course, the Masters is getting ready to happen. NHL is going on right now. So there's a lot of live betting you can do. Guys, go ahead and check out mybookie.ag and use the code USN100 to double your first deposit. Also, if you have... Oh, come on, screen share. Come on now, don't do me like this. Sore, achy muscles. Check out rxhemp.com. Use the code rxhemp/USN to get 10% off of your entire order. We got warm and cool therapy for you guys. Pay attention to the dosage. Okay, guys, pay attention to the dosage. It is CBD cream. It does kick in, so make sure you guys use that responsibly. We got Celebrity Believers. It's made with all natural products. Get you some cream at rxhemp.com. Use the code rxhemp/USN to get 10% off your entire order. Also, Patreon. We have a Patreon. And congratulations to Garrett from Iowa. Garrett from Iowa, congratulations. He won his jersey. He won his Bears jersey. So congratulations to you, Garrett from Iowa. I won the Keenan Allen jersey. And that's because he's a part of the VIP, but I'm going to talk about the other perks we have first. So to become a fan, it's just $1 per month just to support the Unwrapped Sports Network. Become part of the family. It's $5 a month. You get 10% off the Patreon code, which I'm going to show you the shop in a minute. And then you get access to the Discord chat. We talk about everything in the Discord chat. My Discord chat goes off at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning because they're up betting and trying to figure out what to bet next. It's a very fun Discord chat. Also, if you want to win one of those jerseys, become a VIP for $10 a month, and you get 20% off of the Patreon. You get the Patreon code 20% off, from the teespring.com/store/unwrapped site, which I'm getting to in a minute. And of course, you get all the Discord benefits, and you get put in the running for a Amazon gift card of $10, I believe. So, also, how to support the Unwrapped Sports Network. We have our shop. We got teespring.com/store/unwrapped. Get you some Unwrapped Sports Network gear here. I retweeted some yesterday. Philip Tanner, I believe his name is. He bought some gear and I retweeted it. All the live lineups have gear. Let me get to that. Come on, computer. Here's the live lineups. They all have gear. So you can check all of this stuff out at teespring.com/stores/unwrapped. Oh, here's our new guy. He's not new, but Jesse is now, he now has his own show called The Long Ball Lounge. I don't know what time he goes on just yet. I'm not sure if he set a time yet, but he does fantasy baseball. He's really, really, really good at fantasy baseball. Go check out Jesse. He is new to the live lineup. I'm not sure which days yet, but on Ladies First, I will let you guys know. All right. That's everything. That's paying the bills. Nick, let's look at this bracket. Let's look at how the heck we got here. How in the heck did we get an all Pac-12 final?
Right.
Let's look at it. All right, here we go. So, can you see it, Nick? Can you see it okay?
Yeah. I can see it.
All right. So this is how we got here, Nick. I don't know if I want to do it like that. I don't like that. Okay, I'm gonna have to scroll down a little bit too. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna do that like that because I need to scroll. Okay, I need to scroll. So I'm gonna do it like this. I'm just not gonna be able to see you for a minute, Nick.
It's all good.
Because I need to scroll. Okay. Here's what it looked like, guys. This is exactly what it looked like. Now, let's talk about our picks. Nick, you remember your picks?
I want to say I can't exactly remember, but I know I did say UConn and South Carolina was going to play in the national championship, and I did have South Carolina winning.
Okay, so. All right. So that's what he remembers. Okay, I actually had Louisville coming out of this bracket. I remember that I had Louisville coming out of this bracket. Of course, that did not happen. I had on Ladies First. I had Stanford getting upset by Missouri State. Because of the way they played against Oklahoma State, that just shows how good Oklahoma State is. Natasha Mack, congratulations, Defensive Player of the Year. She'll be a top 5 draft pick in this upcoming WNBA draft, which is on April 15th. Me and Nick should do a pre-draft show. I think we're going to do that. Should we do that, Nick?
Definitely.
All right, we're going to do that. We're going to be talking WNBA. So I had Stanford getting upset by Missouri State. Did not think that Stanford would come out and play the way they did against Missouri State, but they handled business.
They definitely did.
They handled business. I was like, well, if Oklahoma State almost beat Stanford, I think I'm going to pick Missouri State to upset. Missouri State was on that huge winning streak. They had the momentum. Stanford is the number 1 overall seed for a reason, Amber. You know that now. So my bracket would have been busted a while back on this side of the bracket. So I had Missouri State playing Louisville, and I had Louisville winning that. So I had Louisville in the Final Four. Didn't happen. Stanford went. Nick, did you have Stanford coming out of that bracket? That side of the bracket?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So Nick, congratulations.
Definitely.
Pat yourself.
Hey man, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That Stanford defense, man. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, it's tough. I'm trying to tell y'all.
It is.
And to be honest, I mean, shout out to Louisville, shout out to South Carolina, because like those are the two teams that really made them like battle tested. I mean, Oklahoma State kind of gave them a fight throughout, like, you know, kind of like the second half per se, but that game was mostly a blowout until Oklahoma State kind of made it like a slight comeback, like late in the second half. But like the game against Louisville really had them on the ropes in that first half until players like Kiana Williams and Cameron Brink really took control of the game, and then unfortunately it was too late for Louisville to kind of like change that momentum. And then even Friday night's game against South Carolina, probably my favorite game out of like out of like the
Mhm.
entire tournament. Like, oh my god,
Mhm.
like that game. Oh man, I feel so bad for Leah Boston missing that last tip. Oh my god, I wanted that to go in so bad.
Oh my
But
goodness. Ah.
but yeah, I mean Stanford's been battle tested, man, and I don't expect it to be any different tonight against a hungry Arizona team led by Ari McDonald.
And you know what? That UConn Baylor game was the game we predicted that in the bracket. We predicted
Mm-hmm.
that. We did not predict Michigan upsetting Tennessee. I didn't
I
predict that. Did you predict that,
I
Nick?
I want to say I didn't, but I can't remember, man.
Did you have Iowa beating Kentucky?
I want to say no. I want to say
Okay.
I didn't. So
Okay.
that's another shocker for me.
Okay. And then of course we know what happened in that Michigan Baylor game. That was a great game. But the UConn Baylor game, that was the toss-up game for me. And I
Mm-hmm.
said it's gonna be close, but I'm gonna take UConn by a hair. I guess I could say I could take UConn by a foul. I guess you can call it that. There was so much controversy in that game. And
Definitely.
I mean so much controversy. Nick, what was your one take from that UConn Baylor game?
Probably I want to say Dee Richards went out with a hamstring injury like
Oh
late in
yeah.
the third because that's what really changed momentum. Because I want to say Baylor had like a 10, 12 point lead like with
Mm-hmm.
2 minutes going, like 2 minutes remaining in the third, and then that was when UConn just went crazy. Kristen Williams started knocking out buckets. Paige started knocking down buckets. Avina Westbrook started getting going. I want to say they went on like an 18-0 run or something like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
end of the third quarter going on to the fourth. So I feel like that injury right there, because Dee Richards brings so much to that team as far as both ends of the floor. I feel like that her going down with that injury, even though I want to say she did come back like in the fourth quarter, but I can't exactly remember. But for her to go down in that game, like late in the third quarter, that's what really changed momentum. And unfortunately, Baylor wasn't able to like come back from that.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? How UConn went on that run, but Baylor was still in it.
Yeah, definitely.
UConn went on that, I think 19-0 or 18-0 run. Baylor was still in it because Baylor had went on a like crazy run.
Definitely.
Um, and that's what's crazy about it. Like, how do you stay in the game? Usually, when a team goes on a 19-0 run, like you're getting blown out. But no, not Baylor. Baylor was still in the game. And if Dee Richards, I don't like to say if, but I'm going to say it. If Dee Richards is healthy, I think Baylor wins that game.
That's a
I
possibility. That's definitely a possibility because like the whole game just about changed once she went out. Like that because
yeah,
here's the thing, like UConn couldn't really buy a basket for
yeah.
like most of that third quarter until she went down, and then all of a sudden threes just start going down. They're getting into the paint, they're able to move the ball, and then somehow some way they just start to catch this momentum. But the next you know, their lead grows to like 6-8, and then things just kept going for them later on in that game. But I mean, shout out to Baylor, though, man. They played a really exceptional game, and I must say that was a foul at the end of the game. That was a foul, definitely a
Yeah.
foul.
I don't think the refs wanted to decide it like that. I think because they went to the monitor, but you cannot review a foul. I don't think you can review a foul in college. So they went to the monitor and they were looking at the time, but they kept replaying the foul. And that's what people were
Yeah,
like, what? Like, that's egregious. But in real time, it looked like a foul. So I'm like, okay, maybe they're going to call a foul here. But I remember in college, I don't think they can review a foul unless I'm thinking incorrectly. I know in the NBA they can, right? In the
yeah,
NBA they can review, but I don't
mm-hmm.
think in college they can do that. They might change their rule. They might end up changing their rule. But here's the thing about the Baylor UConn game. That matchup was so anticipated because they were supposed to play earlier this year, canceled, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about the men's championship just for a little bit after this, because they have that championship game is the game everybody anticipated. Everybody anticipated Gonzaga Baylor, and they're getting that in the men's game. People anticipated the UConn Baylor regular season matchup, and I don't know how Baylor ended up a number 2 seed. I'm trying to figure that one out. I think Gino Auriemma mentioned something about this shouldn't have been an Elite 8 game. This probably should have been a Final 4 game. I wonder why Baylor ended up a number 2 seed A, and
Mm-hmm.
B, why how Baylor ended up in UConn's bracket.
Right.
That to me is very interesting. Now I will say this. Stanford did deserve number 1 overall seed. I'm not saying that they didn't. I think UConn would have had it if UConn would have played more games. But I think the Pac-12 is stronger than the Big East. Now, that solves that controversy, right? So then you come down here and you look at NC State. NC State did deserve a number 1 overall seed. I agree with that.
Did.
South Carolina. How do you feel about South Carolina? Not the number 1 overall seed, but a number 1 seed, excuse me. How do you feel about South Carolina being number 1 seed? They had the toughest schedule in the country, and they only lost, I think, 4 games, or 3 games, or 4 games. So.
I think it was deserved. I mean, they pretty much they basically dominated the SEC, and then also, I mean, they were able to get some good wins as well throughout in the regular season against like other conference teams. So, you know, I definitely believe that it was deserved per se.
Okay. So those are your 4 number 1 seeds, right? Then you look at your 2 seeds, right? Could you have put Baylor in a bracket with NC State, in your opinion?
I could say either them or maybe even South Carolina per se. Would you put them in that bracket too, or?
You couldn't put them in Stanford's bracket because they're number 1 overall seed. So technically, they're supposed to get the worst number 2 seed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. UConn was the 2nd number 1 overall seed, right? So technically, they would get the the 2nd worst or the 3rd best, whatever you want to say it, number 2 seed. Baylor, in my opinion, in this whole tournament, was the best number 2. They won the Big 12. Definitely. The Big 12 was a very strong conference this year. I think it was pretty good this year. And they won the Big 12, regular season and conference championship. What did the committee see to put Baylor in UConn's bracket? I am still trying to figure that one out. Because if you were to put them in a bracket, I think you put them in NC State's bracket. You flip them in Texas A&M. Even though Texas A&M did go to the SEC championship, they did play very well all season long. I think you flip that.
Could you imagine an Arizona Baylor matchup in Elite 8 per se?
Arizona's on a run right now. When you're hot, you're hot. So
definitely.
You hindsight's 2020, right? Would you say hindsight's 2020?
Yeah, definitely.
So if we look at it, right, and Arizona stays a number 3 seed, because if you change that number 2 seed, if you flip Baylor and Texas A&M, a number 3 seed might be different in this bracket. Maybe just by how the committee is looking at it, right? They're just kind of looking at, okay, Stanford's number 1 overall seed, they get the best bracket, right? So you had Oregon in that bracket, Georgia, Louisville, Arkansas, and Missouri State. Missouri State was a hot team, though, coming in.
They were a hot team.
They were smoking hot. So you put them in their bracket, and when the number 1 overall seed, you usually get the best bracket. You're supposed to. This is COVID time, so I don't know how they thought about this. And then you go over, right? It would be UConn. So UConn would get the 2nd easiest bracket. So let's see. They had Iowa, Kentucky, Michigan, who's played very well. Got the Big Ten Player of the Year in their bracket. Tennessee, who finished the year strong. And Baylor. That just didn't. Nick, I would have rather seen Texas A&M over there.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that, to be honest.
Do they have any SEC? They got Kentucky over there.
Yeah, they got Kentucky.
And Tennessee.
I want to say Tennessee, yeah. Tennessee.
So do you put 3 SEC teams in the same bracket? Probably not. So you see what I'm saying? But that would have to change. You can flip Arizona and Tennessee, right? So we would put Tennessee in NC State's bracket. Yes. And we could put Arizona in UConn's bracket, right? If we were to do that. We're just talking about scenarios, guys. We're just trying to figure out why Baylor was in UConn's bracket. we know we're confusing you, but hey, this is what we do. We're just doing hypotheticals. So I don't know how it happened, Nick. I don't know, Nick. I don't know. But nonetheless, UConn moved on, right?
UConn did move on.
And then UConn met
a hungry, more tenacious Arizona team
that locks up on defense.
Yeah, and I must say, man, I mean, I know early in the game, Arizona had a good lead, and everybody was like, "Oh man, this might be the upset." But I'm like, okay, I know Gino's team. Sometimes they get up to like slow starts, you know. let me see what goes on, like, mid second quarter, like around the third quarter, see what happens. Then out of nowhere, Arizona continues to stay hot. They got like a 14, 15 point lead.
Mm-hmm.
They're really closing the paint for UConn, and they're really making things uncomfortable, led by Ari McDonald. And I was like, "Ooh, man, this might be an upset." But like the crazy thing for me though, like even though like Arizona did do like a really good job at controlling the paint on defense and really not allowing easy opportunities at the rim, whenever UConn did like get those easy looks around the paint, they were missing them. Like they were missing. I want to say they shot like at one point they shot like 5 for 20 or something like that from like around like the inside of the paint, and it was so crazy like they weren't converting on any easy layups or like anything like around the foul line and everything. So you definitely got to give credit to Arizona for that. Even though like led by Pace, like they tried to make like a quick comeback, but you could just tell that the momentum was on Arizona's side.
You could, and Arizona kept their foot on the gas. I think UConn got it down to like 3 or 2, maybe
Right.
5. I want to say 5, and Arizona just kept coming. They just kept coming, and that defense for Arizona, long as their bigs can stay out of foul trouble, that defense for Arizona is tenacious. I love it. I love it. Now, how did South Carolina get here? South Carolina cruised by Mercer. They cruised by Oregon State. They handled Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
They handled
Texas.
Oh,
Texas.
My goodness.
I didn't even watch the game, but like when I got home, I saw everybody talking about on Twitter how Texas like did not score in the fourth, and I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Especially considering that they played a really good game against Maryland too.
Yeah, they did. And they put the clamps on Maryland, and then South Carolina turned around and put the clamps on Texas.
Yeah.
So Zaya Cook was phenomenal.
She was
phenomenal.
She was phenomenal throughout that game against Stanford. Like especially with Aaliyah Boston being in foul trouble, she really like carried the way and really like set the tone for the team. Yep. But
and Destiny Henderson hit some huge shots.
That's what I'm saying. Like
big shots.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you definitely give credit to South Carolina because they definitely like held their heads down and really stayed into this game, even when it didn't look right. And I mean, like you said, Destiny Henderson really came through like late in the game, like hit a few clutch 3-pointers per se. But the combination of like Kiana Williams and Haley Jones just shot the ball tremendously from 3-point range. Honestly, I want to say coming into this tournament, she was like 1 for 9 from 3, and then like throughout this tournament, she's been shooting like 45% per se. So I don't know what got into her, but honestly she's been shooting the lights out. So the combination of that, and then also having a tremendous center in Cameron Brink, like it was just too much for South Carolina. But they definitely like continued to fight throughout that game, and that was a big steal at the end of the game. I was like, oh my god, like you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yep, it was a huge steal. A missed layup, a missed runner. But Leah Boston had a chance. She had a chance, and I felt for her. I wanted to cry for her. Like I even got a little emotional. I almost shed a thug tear for her.
I almost did too. I'm not gonna lie.
I was like, yo, especially that I played college basketball. I've never missed shot at the end of a game, but my teammates have. I remember that. And it's like, what do you say? What do you do? But this stage is big. And this is the game to go to the national championship. They will be back. I think they have the number 1 and number 2 recruiting class coming in next year. Yeah. The sophomores will be juniors. They only have 1 senior. So South Carolina will be back.
South Carolina will definitely be back. And the one thing that I liked from this game is like after the game, like you could look at like Dawn Staley. She wasn't really like upset about this game because she knew that her team fought. So I definitely think that they're gonna come into next year with a chip on their shoulder.
And that's dangerous. And when you got the number 1 recruiting class already, oh man, that's gonna be dangerous. So how did the Arizona Wildcats get here? How did you get here, Arizona? How did you do it? Now I can't say this, Nick. On ladies first, Arizona was in my Final Four. I had Arizona, Louisville, South Carolina, and UConn. Now, because I had Stanford being upset by Missouri State, I had to pick an upset. I picked the Indiana upset of NC State on ladies first. I got the records, guys. I got the records. I did pick Texas A&M at first, but I picked Arizona to beat Texas A&M. I picked Arizona to beat Indiana. So I had Arizona and Indiana. I had South Carolina and Maryland, though, over here. So, and then I had Arizona winning. So Arizona was in my Final Four. Now, I didn't do it ladies first Thursday because I was on vacation, still am. But I probably would have picked UConn by a hair because of the way Arizona plays defense. Mm-hmm. If I was to pick, I picked it on Twitter. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with UConn, but I'm going to go with UConn by a skosh. And I had South Carolina, of course, and I had South Carolina as my champion. But Arizona, NC State got upset. I picked that. Yes. We had a Belmont. We had a double-digit seed upset here. So Indiana had a nice run. Indiana had a great run. But Arizona is just hot right now. They are hot. Look what they did to Texas A&M. Look at that. Mm-hmm. They are on a mission. And Texas A&M almost got upset twice by Troy and by Iowa State. So they've been playing nail biters, and Arizona has been pretty much cruising. This was a close game with BYU, a single-digit game, but that was a double-digit game. This is a double-digit game. You know what I mean? So, and this was a double-digit game. So Arizona found their way to the Final Four. Yes, I like when I'm right. And NC State got upset. Now, if we would have got NC State and Arizona, how do you think that would have played out? You still taking Arizona?
Yeah, I definitely did. I'm definitely still taking Arizona. I want to say I had NC State going out like the second round. I want to say I said that, but I can't exactly remember. But I did say that I didn't have NC State coming out of their bracket.
Okay.
But I must say I definitely underestimated Arizona throughout this game, honestly, because I definitely thought there was going to be probably a 10-15 point win for UConn. I don't know what's wrong with me, but they definitely proved me wrong. And yeah, I mean their defense is solid. I mean they're communicating, they're active. They really deflect passes. You got to give credit to what they do, and that's why I feel like they're really gonna have to rely on that per se on the end of the floor to really get over the hump against Stanford, because I mean Stanford's going to beat you in so many different ways on offense. So I feel like if Arizona can really stay together on defense, it's just going to lead to easier opportunities on offense then.
I think so too. The bigs have to stay out of foul trouble. Baptiste has to stay on the floor. She has to stay on the floor with Ari McDonald. I am a strong believer of that. Stanford will run their stuff. They're not going to go away from what they do. Kiana Williams and Ari McDonald, that's going to be a fun matchup.
Oh, my God. I'm ready.
That's going to be a fun matchup. So that's how Arizona got here, guys. That's how Stanford got here. That Final Four, I predicted almost correctly. Stanford wasn't in my Final Four, but they made it anyway. So congratulations to Stanford, and they made it to the championship as well. I had to pick an upset, guys. It's not that I don't believe in Tara Vanderveer. It's just that I had to pick an upset, okay? Definitely. And I wasn't picking against South Carolina, and the Baylor-UConn matchup setup was just so perfect. But I did pick something right. I did pick Arizona. But the one time I did not pick Arizona, they beat UConn. You know what I mean? So has Amber learned her lesson?
I definitely learned my lesson. Oh, my God. I definitely did not expect that output to happen.
I don't. So now let's look at it. Now let's look at Stanford and Arizona, right? Pac-12, they're very familiar with one another. I think 3 years ago, Arizona had only won 6 games or something like that.
I want to say, yeah, but I can't remember. I have to look back.
Yeah, I think it wasn't too long ago. Arizona had only won 6 games. When I was playing college basketball, Arizona was good. Arizona and Arizona State were very good. But that was 15 years ago. Shh, don't tell my age. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, however you want to say it. So they bring in Barnes, right? She resurrects the program. Her players believe in her. They buy into that system at Arizona. She gets Ari McDonald. You get Baptiste. You get these players that are wanting to play for you. I think her last name is it Breeds? She's an All-American. McDonald's All-American.
I may need to look that up.
She's a post player that jumps at the free throw line when she shoots. I love it. She jumps at the free throw line when she shoots. I have to look I'm gonna have to look. I know her last name. Hold on, I'm gonna go to the game. I know it's about to start. I see you and I hear you.
Yeah, I know my phone over here blowing me up with notifications.
Yeah, like you know the game's about to start. I was right. Let me see. Reese. Her last name is Reese.
Yep.
She's played very well for them. Thank you, Perry. We appreciate it. Go check out Perry, guys. We're actually live on his Facebook as well, and his Periscope. Thank you, Perry. I took a break from my vacation to talk women's basketball. So Reese will play well. Thomas has to knock down shots. She has to knock down shots, and Ari McDonald is going to get hers. I think Stanford's knowing that okay, Kiana Williams cannot get in foul trouble against Ari McDonald. She cannot do that. Now they will try to probably put length on her, maybe like they did, like Stanford did against Zaya Cook, because Cook was eating Kiana Williams, whoever was guarding her for lunch. I think it was Anna Wilson at first, and I think Kiana Williams guarded her, and then they ended up putting length on her. One of the twins, I believe, they put on Cook because she was eating everybody else up for lunch. But South Carolina did not have spacing. Guess why? They didn't have shooters. If they would have had spacing, I think South Carolina blows out Stanford because Stanford cannot stay in front of those guards. The guards for Arizona are a little different. Ari McDonald gets her shot. She will take a lot of shots.
Definitely.
She's left-handed. So how does Stanford stop Miss Ari?
I think the one thing that they're gonna have to do is possibly allow her to be more of a jump shooter than an attacker at the rim. Because I feel like anytime anytime you let her get like any easy opportunity at the rim, that's just gonna be like a plus, and it's really gonna help Arizona like continue to keep momentum. And that's what you saw against UConn. I mean, she was attacking the rim at will, you know, and honestly, like UConn had no answer for them. So I think like with Stanford's length and their ability to like, you know, communicate on the defensive end, if they can really like trap those gaps and stop Ari McDonald from penetrating, I feel like that could possibly be a key. Now, will it stop her from being like an elite scorer? Probably not, because I mean, obviously she's a great mid-range scorer and she's a great 3-point shooter, but not allowing her to get those easy transition points or those easy baskets that in the paint will be key.
That's key. I'm gonna give you some Stanford keys. Can Haley Jones stay hot? Can she stay out of foul trouble too? Can what's Brink's hamstring? How is that? You know, she hurt her hamstring. She has it wrapped up. How would that affect, you know, because I think that Arizona's bigs are athletic as well. They're athletic. And Stanford's bigs are long and they're tall, but they're not necessarily athletic. And Tara Vanderveer was trying different bigs because Aaliyah Boston was working in the paint. So she was trying different bigs because of the athleticism of South Carolina. So Arizona doesn't have bigs that score in the paint like Aaliyah Boston does, but they have bigs that have that athletic ability. So can Stanford's bigs stay out of foul trouble? Can Haley Jones stay hot? What can Cameron Brink give me? Can she give me 25 productive minutes? I'm fine with 25 productive minutes. Anna Wilson, can she contribute on offense? And what is she going to bring on the defensive end? You know, she's a defensive-minded type of guard. I think her and Ari McDonald match up better than her and Zaya Cook. Zaya Cook was she just elevated and shot over her. Ari McDonald's not going to elevate and shoot over you. You know, she's going to create ways to get to the hole. She's left-handed. That's a different type of animal to guard. But Anna Wilson will probably start for Ari McDonald. You're not going to put Kiana Williams on her because that's too much energy on defense. So you just have to keep her in front. And I think Kiana Williams will guard Thomas. Thomas is a shooter, so she'll guard Thomas, right? So those are your matchups I'm looking at. But I'm really looking at the Stanford bigs. I'm really looking at that. I want to see how they handle Arizona bigs, and can Arizona bigs stay out of foul trouble, like I said before. This is going to be fun. Ooh, excuse me. This is going to be fun for me. It's going to be fun for you, Nick.
Definitely.
I want you now to predict your winner. Because the game's getting ready to start, so we got to start predicting winners, guys, and log off.
Well, right now I'm looking at the numbers from the last matchup. I want to say it was like sometime in February, but since I'm making my predictions, I'm gonna. Ooh, who am I gonna choose? I'm gonna stay on I'm gonna stay on the I'm gonna stay on the Erie McDonald train. I'm gonna stay on there. Like if they can continue to produce on the defensive end at that level, like they did against UConn, and really like control the shooting in the pace of Stanford, I feel like they definitely have a shot at winning. Now, this is a game that I do expect to go down to the last possession.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll take all 40 minutes for Arizona to continue to play at that high level in order to pull off this victory. I want Erie McDonald to leave Arizona on a high note, and it'll really like help her draft stock going into this year's draft. So that's why I'm honestly choosing for Arizona to pull this off.
See, this is the thing, Nick. Now I'm conflicted, right?
Mm-hmm.
I picked against Stanford. They mollywopped Missouri State, one of the hottest teams in the country.
Exactly.
I picked against Arizona, and they handled UConn. So I've picked against both teams thus far, right? Stanford has won by double digits in both meetings. Arizona's a different team.
Arizona is a different team.
I believe that Arizona's a different team. Stanford's also a different team, right? They struggled a little bit against Oklahoma State. They come back against Missouri State, handle business. And then they handle business against Louisville. So how do I pick against Stanford? Arizona, right? You beat Texas A&M. You beat Indiana, who beat NC State. You beat UConn, which is a lot of people's pick to get to the final. I'm rocking with Miss McDonald. I got to go Arizona here.
Got to.
I want to see that story end beautifully. I just really do. I am trying to figure out who's going to guard her, because when she gets going, her teammates get confidence, and that's how it happens. You're not going to be able to. I don't see her scoring less than 20.
Oh,
unless
yeah,
she just has an off night, like unless Tara Vanderveer throws traps at her, which I think she's going to have to get the ball out of her hands. I would not be surprised if that happens. But she has the length. Tara Vanderveer has length on her side. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say this. Whoever wins this game, I will not be shocked. If Stanford comes out and wins, I won't be shocked. If Arizona comes out and wins, I won't be shocked. But Arizona's my pick, right? They're just my pick. I love it, Nick, because you get a number one overall seed and you get a number 3 seed, right? The number 3 seed is not supposed to be here.
Definitely.
They're not supposed to be here. That Arizona team is, people probably had Arizona losing to maybe Texas A&M, I want to say, because there were no upsets on the side of the bracket, so probably Texas A&M. So Arizona is proving people wrong time and time again. Erin McDonald is showing why she's great. I want Baptiste to stay out of foul trouble. Please, Baptiste, stay out of foul trouble. Please. Please.
That'll be huge if she's able to play like at least like 25 plus productive minutes. Mm-hmm. Honestly,
because I think that Arizona's not as deep as Stanford. Stanford can go deep into their bench. Definitely. Arizona probably plays 3 or 4 players off the bench, and that's it. So Tara Vanderveer has bodies to spare. Arizona does not. Ari McDonald will probably play 40 minutes this game. I won't be shocked if that happens. The game's getting ready to start, guys. You got me in Nick's picks. Nick, any last words?
Final score, I'm going to say 69 to 67.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah.
Come down to the last shot. Last shot? Mm-hmm. The last shot, Nick? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go 64 to 62, Arizona.
Okay.
I think it stays in the 60s. I honestly do. I think it stays in the 60s.
2-point victories.
Yeah. 2-point victory. Like I said, though, it could go either way. I think, what's the line on the game? I wonder what the line, let me look what the line is. Stanford is a 7.5-point favorite. That's a bit much.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like that. Gonzaga was a double-digit favorite. UConn was a double-digit favorite. I said we were going to talk about men's game, but we get Baylor and Gonzaga. I'll probably do a preview for that. Me and Nick should probably do a preview for that on Monday if he's available. I think that would be great because we want to see how Gonzaga and Baylor got there, even though a lot of people probably predicted either Gonzaga and Baylor or Gonzaga in Illinois. Whatever you predicted, That's what it is for the men's game. Nick, thank you so much. We're going to pay some bills and get on out of here, of course, because the game's going to start. I think the national anthem is on, which I never listen to anyway. So here we go. MyBookie.ag. Use the code USN100 to double your first deposit. Bet on this game. Now, I wouldn't recommend. I don't know what the over-under is, but I might take the under because it's two defensive teams. So I would probably bet the under, maybe. Who knows? But check out MyBookie.ag. Use the code USN100 to double your first deposit. Also, we have, come on now, screen. I'm trying to watch the game. Teespring.com/stores/unwrapped. Get all your Unwrapped Sports Network gear here. I'll be wearing my ladies' first gear again on Thursday because I am done wearing my Kentucky t-shirt because I've worn it for the time allowed. Yes, I still have it. I'll probably play basketball in it or work out in it. But shout out to you, Michael. I miss you. I'll see you soon. And that's all the gear on Unwrapped. On the Unwrapped site for teespring.com/stores/unwrapped. Sore achy muscles. You got some sore achy muscles. You need them to be handled with some CBD cream. We got you. RxHemp.com. Use the code RxHemp/USN to get 10% off your entire order. It's made with all natural products. We have warm and cool therapy. The dosage, pay attention to the dosage. Don't put on too much, guys. It kicks in. So check out RxHemp.com. Use the code RxHemp/USN to get 10% off of your entire order. Last but not least, become a part of the Patreon. Become a part of the Patreon and support the Unwrapped Sports Network. Got something in my throat. Hopefully I can get it out before the game starts because I'll be yelling at the TV. $1 a month. We become a fan. $5 a month. You get all these perks right here. You'll become part of the family. VIP, $10 a month. All these perks. Plus a signed jersey. Shout out to Garrett from Iowa for winning the David Montgomery jersey. Shout out to me for winning the Keenan Allen jersey. You get the 20% off of the Teespring store and then our Discord chat. And I think it's a $10 gift card from Amazon. So support us. Let us keep continuing doing what we do best. All right, Nick, the game is getting ready to start. Starting lineups are getting ready to hit. I think my TV might be behind, but I'm streaming. Nick, enjoy the game. Guys, enjoy the game. We ended this in perfect timing. Amber, yes. Nick and I will see you tomorrow. We'll come up with a time, Nick, and we'll do this thing tomorrow for the men.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do it.
All right. We see you guys later.
See ya.